So anyway, we got back home to New Zealand and I couldn't sleep. I couldn't even think straight. All I wanted to do was just go back to the Philippines. I really want to go back. Like I felt at home. And I just wanted to get out of what I was living. I decided at that point I'm just going to sell everything that I own, like absolutely everything. Every single person in my close circle thought I was nuts. My mum and my stepdad thought that I was just going through a phase and I would snap out of it. But clearly it's not a phase. I've been here for almost 2 years now. I plan on staying here for the rest of my life.
This is James and Mary, a couple from New Zealand that decided to live the province life in the mountains of Bohol. James spends his days exploring and relaxing with his family. But why exactly did he trade the city life for a life in the province? That's what we'll find out now.
So it's another beautiful day in the Philippines. Today we're meeting with an expat from New Zealand who lives in the mountains of Bohol. We're gonna tour his home and chat with him and figure out exactly what his life is like out here in Bohol. So if you're thinking that province life might be more your speed, this video is just for you.
It took us around 2 hours to get from the main city of Panglao to where James was at, but once we arrived, I couldn't believe what awaited us.
Right, so this is Neo Zealand. Well, we named it Neo Zealand because Uncle Neo, obviously his name is Ireneo, so we call him Neo. And Zealand because I'm from New Zealand, so Neo Zealand. This is the first cabin that we built when we got here. It's completely unused at the moment, but we do plan on using it maybe for some accommodation or something.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much where we stayed while we were building the house up the top.
Really?
These are the two local puppies. We never had a dog, but a dog seemed to stay here when we were building the house. And it had some puppies and we decided to keep 2 of them. So we've got Luna and Sky.
Oh, and before we jump into it, can you just briefly introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, and how long you've been living in the Philippines?
Sure. My name's James. I've been in the Philippines for about 2 years now. I'm 43 years old. My wife's name is Mary. She's 40. We decided to come to the Philippines on a holiday 2 years ago. We'd come here, I just completely fell in love with the place, and I decided to come to Bohol because Mary's mother owned all of this land here. It was completely undeveloped, so we decided that what better than here? Absolutely stunning place, as you can see. We are pretty isolated. We're in the middle of nowhere, which is pretty good. Unfortunately though, we do have a lot of dogs coming around the house and it keeps me awake at night, so I'm a little bit tired today, but hey, you gotta deal with these things, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, I appreciate you inviting us out here. This was a little bit of an adventure getting here.
It's not the typical place for the foreigner lives, I guess. Most of them live in the BGC or Cebu or Manila. I just love the isolated lifestyle. I came from the second biggest city in New Zealand and I lived there my whole life and I just really love just the country life, the province life. It's been a lot of work, but it's slowly getting there. We started developing this, I think it was March last year we started the build. Finished in about August. It's not completely finished, but it's kind of getting there. We're getting the landscaping and stuff done.
Yeah.
It must be really cold out here in the morning, like early morning.
Unfortunately not.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it would be as well. Unfortunately not. Sometimes at night time it gets a little bit cold, but it's still incredibly warm. It does get really hot up here because we're surrounded by all the trees. So we don't get much of a breeze, unfortunately. We've got our lemongrass field over here. Lemongrass is absolutely beautiful in stir fries. I primarily use it for juices. Absolutely love lemongrass and calamansi juice. But we were kind of inspired by the recent resort that we went to. They served me the most amazing lemongrass and calamansi juice. So we just recently planted this field, but we just need a little bit of rain. It's very dry, as you can see, and hopefully they don't die, but grass is pretty resilient, so it should be okay. Over here behind you, this is where we've planted all the fruit trees. So we have rambutan, we have, what else do we have? What else do we have? Come on. These are your fruit trees. So we've got rambutan, right?
Yeah.
We've got the banana, we've got the coconut, we've got the mangosteen,
Yeah.
correct?
Santol.
Huh?
Santol.
What's that? Even I don't know what that is. She's the one doing all the coordination of all the plants, because we wanted traditional like Filipino garden, and unfortunately I don't know much about Filipino gardening. I know a lot about New Zealand gardening and the plants that we have there, And just up the back here, we've just planted a lot of coconut trees and a lot of banana trees because we really want the shade on the houses. It's incredibly hot up here sometimes. Kind of crazy hot, as you can see from like the sweat that's dripping off me all the time.
Well, let me turn the camera on myself.
Yeah,
Guys,
sure.
I am perfectly fine. Just to let y'all know.
No sweat.
No sweat.
Lots of sweat.
This is years of living in Houston, Texas.
So the temperature over there is pretty similar to here, yeah?
It is.
Ah, okay. Yeah, New Zealand, as I said before, it's currently summer over there, and my mum messaged me the other day, and her beautiful day, it was 10 degrees Celsius in the middle of summer. So, as you can imagine, it's taken me a long time to actually get used to the temperature.
Yeah, bit of an adjustment.
Definitely, definitely. So this is our chicken coop. I think there's some chickens in there at the moment, but we do have 16 chickens running around. We had 2 initially. We didn't actually buy any. We didn't actually source our own chickens. 2 native chickens came up here and started producing eggs in the, oh, they are in there. Started producing eggs in the little hut. And now we have 16 running around. They're everywhere. They usually come back here at night time because we feed them, but they should be running around. Hey, hey. Oh, this is we've got a calamansi, so I can mix my calamansi with my lemongrass. Unfortunately, it's not grown yet, so I can't really do it. This is our backyard that I'm pretty unsure with what I'm going to do. I really want to wait until the coconut trees are established and provide some shade, but I'm considering putting a pool in here because over in the distance, eventually I want to put some native cabins. Over the back, we're considering eventually putting some native huts, chopping down some of the trees so they have a view as well. And what we would eventually like to do is have a separate driveway coming over here, and this will actually be accommodation for people who, I guess, go to the Denell Adventure Park because it's reasonably close. So I think a pool here would be quite good. Everybody can relax in the pool, but I'm unsure as yet. See how we go. So next, I think we'll just go down to the hut. Since we're doing the outside, we may as well go down to the jungle hut that I built. This is obviously the outside of the house and the terrace. We're still slowly doing the landscaping, but as you can imagine with my excessive sweating, it becomes quite difficult. This is our little garden terrace down here. These plants are actually going to grow into a hedge and almost give the effect of, I guess, tall grass, but it should be pretty cool once it's finished. So as we walk down to the jungle hut, this is probably one of my favorite spots on the property. This is where I relax and do my video editing. Fortunately, I actually get Wi-Fi down here, and it's a great place to relax and have a nice cold beer in the super hot evening. Please be careful, I built the door for very small people. And this is the hut. So it's got the beautiful hammock. I always lay in that hammock. I'll just lay there and I'll do some video editing or maybe just watch some YouTube, that sort of thing. But it's all made out of native materials directly from the property. So these are all just trees that we've chopped down for the property. The floor is just bamboo, but we've put this mosquito net around the whole thing. So there's not going to be any mosquitoes getting in here, no rats, no snakes, because obviously we've got no windows and there's no wall. But out here, I think eventually I'll put a terrace out there so I can further extend it. But at the moment, it's our little hut.
You said welcome to the jungle. You really
I literally meant welcome to the jungle. But this view here, as you walk up there, that's probably one of my favorite views of the house. And believe it or not, these banana trees that you can see, these extra large banana trees, they were only planted 2 months ago. 2 months of growth. Jeez. I think it's because all of the water comes down the hill and it all settles here. But the soil must be pretty fertile if it is growing that quickly. And then we go back up to the house. We haven't really created a pathway yet. I'm not too sure where it's going to go. I'm thinking we'll create the pathway up to the steps. Watch your head on that. But it's still a work in progress. Definitely a work in progress. We still haven't finished so many different things. This is our daughter's room. Yeah. We won't go in there because obviously being a teenager, we value her privacy a lot. And if I was a teenager, I probably wouldn't want my parents going in there either. Yeah. But down below there is a computer table and a study area, a U-shaped computer table. And above there we've actually raised the bed up to 2.2 meters. So she's got a loft space up the top. So it's actually reasonably spacious in there. It does look very small. Over here we have the motorcycle sheds. This is my beautiful motorcycle, love this one. And that's the PG1, so that's for Lorraine and Mary to use if they need to. It's much easier to drive. It doesn't have a clutch on it, so it's much easier to drive. My one is out of bounds for pretty much everybody. Now we should go into the house. I won't take you into the CR because that's not finished either. We were planning on getting the tiles done this week, but Tugboolaren actually ran out of the tiles that we wanted. We want some large slate look tiles, so that's not finished. But welcome to my home. This was a very hard, sweaty work of labor. I had 2 carpenters helping me, and on and off, say 3 to 5 laborers, because there's a lot of concrete work that needs to be done. There's a lot of lifting. I project managed the whole thing, designed it all. I had to do all the drawings. I spent many late nights doing all the structural drawings for the carpenters to follow, because most of the time here in the Philippines, they build with hollow blocks, as you would know. I chose to build the whole thing out of timber, which they were a little confused about, because obviously there's huge population of termites up here, but I knew that I could possibly keep them at bay with selenium and a lot of it. So I'm pretty confident that's going to work for a reasonable amount of time, and I will sort of recoat everything every 5 to 6 months, maybe 6 to 8 months, but it's completely unfinished. So all the walls in here, I plan on giving the same effect as the terrace floor. So I actually use the planks from the terrace floor, which I use to make a table. They're all going to run vertically and completely cover this wall and the back wall. All of the side walls are going to be traditional amakan and bamboo, because I really want to maintain that Filipino feel in here. So I want it to have like a Western Filipino feel. I put these structural cross beams in. The carpenters were a little confused because they really wanted me to use the same timber as the rest of the house, but I really wanted the authentic log feel in here. But they will prevent any lateral movement and earthquakes. They'll just strengthen it a lot. And I've done the same thing with the stairs over there up to the loft, which that's where Mary and I sleep. We don't need a bedroom yet, because when Lorraine leaves home, she's 16 now, when she leaves home, we'll take over her room. And yeah, we'll sort of rearrange things a little bit, and we'll probably use up there for storage.
All right, so where are we right now? This looks to be the living room area.
This is the living room area. I decided to build it in a lot of separate units. I wanted the living room area completely separate to the CR. I wanted Lorraine's room, as she's a teenager, completely separate to everything. I wanted the kitchen separate to everything. I don't really know why I wanted to do that, but I wanted a bit of a change from New Zealand. In New Zealand, my house, it was a really nice house, but you could literally hear everybody in every individual room. So if you're sitting in the kitchen eating dinner, sometimes you can hear somebody in the toilet, and I really didn't want something like that. So I wanted everything completely separate. So this is just one big cabin, and it's just the lounge. I was planning on putting a kitchen in the corner over here. That was the initial thought. But then I changed my mind completely, as I always do, and I decided to put the kitchen outside, because it's so hot up here, you don't actually need the kitchen inside. The wind, we're pretty much surrounded by trees, so it doesn't really get windy out there. We've never had rain go into the kitchen outside, so...
So you've got a dirty kitchen.
Yeah, dirty kitchen. It's
awesome.
Not too dirty at the moment. Sometimes it does get pretty dirty, but it's not like a proper traditional dirty kitchen. I think the reason they call it a dirty kitchen is because of all the soot from an actual fireplace. We don't have a fireplace out here unless it's an emergency. But you can see we do have a little bit of remnants from a dirty kitchen. When we have no gas, or when we have no electricity, we do remove that and we put a steel tray in there, and we will have a traditional dirty kitchen. So we will do all the cooking on fire. All of our lights are solar lights. I've pretty much designed the house to be excellent in any sort of disaster or anything like that. We run 50% of our electricity off solar. It's all running off the solar panels on the terrace roof. All the lights out here are solar. We only use gas. This gas oven, which we use to make traditional New Zealand pies and pizzas and that sort of thing, that all runs off gas. This is our metal storage system. As you can imagine, being up here in the jungle, there's a lot of rats. There's a lot of other animals. So that's a steel storage system for any sort of perishables or anything that we don't want to keep in the fridge. Say fruit, for example, we don't want to keep all the fruit in the fridge, so we'll actually stick it in there. And good luck to the rats eating through that. And eventually, we want to put some steps up here and claim our vegetable garden back that the chickens have taken over. That was initially built as a vegetable garden for lettuce, tomatoes, capsicum, peppers, that sort of thing. So eventually we'll do a little bit more landscaping, and we'll claim that back from the chickens. But this is our kitchen. I didn't really plan it very well. There's a lot of things that I would change if I could go back and change it now, but we were kind of rushed at a point where we really needed things finished. They weren't progressing too well, and rainy season was coming up, and I'd never been through a rainy season in the Philippines before, and I was a little bit terrified. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to get anything done. So we had to kind of rush to get this done. I didn't really design it as well as what I should have. I was spending way too long designing the house because the house was getting built at the same time as this. So there's a lot of changes that need to be done. We need tiles on the top, tiles on the floor. I want to rearrange this whole area so Mary's got a much larger area for cooking. Maybe a little bit of storage, but there's not really much I would change. It's great having the Nipo roof because it doesn't transmit the heat through as much as corrugated iron. So that works out really well. It's actually much cooler in here most of the time than what it is in the house. Yeah, it's a great little area. We do have a reasonable view as well. I guess Mary's got a reasonable view because she's only 5 foot tall.
Yeah.
So she's down here looking at it. I can't really see it because I'm up here, but I guess she's got a bit of a view there. And a beautiful view of the backyard when we eventually get a pool or something. We do have a lot of drains around the property. So we've got enormous drain pipes, about 120 millimeters thick. We've installed them everywhere. And we've raised the house up because, as you can imagine, when it rains here, you guys have been here for a reasonable amount of time, when it rains here, it absolutely pours down. So we needed some drains to make sure it doesn't flood. So we've got 2 ways of preventing the house from flooding. It's up on piles, so it's 400 millimeters off the ground. Plus we also have the drains to divert all the water down the hill. And they seem to work pretty well. We haven't had any flooding issues at all yet.
And by the way,
Yes.
what is your background, James? Because this is all well thought out. Have you worked in, construction, engineering, or architecture?
Believe it or not, I actually have a double major Bachelor of Science degree and a completely different field. So I've got a psychology background, but I've been in construction my entire life. So I've got a very diverse background. I've also done a lot of sales management. I've done a whole lot of different things, but primarily it's construction. I spent a very long time recently before I came over here renovating earthquake damaged houses. So obviously we went through a huge earthquake in 2011. I spent the majority of my time running a company for a good friend of mine, and we pretty much took completely damaged houses that the insurance companies didn't think that they could repair, and we brought them up to a standard where they were ready for sale and they were remediated. So that is why things have turned out the way that they've turned out here. I've found it relatively easy to make the transition from New Zealand over to here to construction. Communication was a little bit lacking sometimes, obviously because they only spoke Visaya, I only spoke English, but luckily I had Mary here most of the time doing the translating. But also there's the universal construction lingo that we both sort of understood, They'd be pointing at things and asking, and I'd be like, yeah, I know what you're saying, and I'd do the same thing and they'd know exactly what I'm saying, so that was pretty good. I think it's turned out pretty well. There's still, as I say, there's a lot to go, but I'm in no rush. I'm just in the travelling at the moment. It's livable. It's a lovely spot to relax. This is where I do a lot of editing as well. Nice little relaxed computer area. And this is my terrace. This is my favourite part of the house. This is where I relax the most. This is where I drink my Red Horse. I love my Red Horse. Very, very cold it has to be. I don't like warm Red Horse. But this is where I sit here every morning. I have my coffee. I contemplate what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. Just the best spot I've ever seen for myself. Complete change to my house in New Zealand. I used to live in a 400 square metre lot. My house took up most of the lot. My backyard was about the size of this terrace. Really, really, really nice house, but it was almost like apartment living. So now I've got so much space, I don't even know what to do with it. I don't know what I'm going to plant next. I don't know where I'm going to go in the morning. But yeah, this is definitely my favourite spot. It does get a little bit warm up here, but...
And about how many square meters total is the entire space?
Entire space?
Yeah.
The terrace is 15 square meters. Cabin is 30 square meters. The loft upstairs is 12 square meters. The kitchen is 12 square meters. Lorraine's room is 12 square meters. And the seat art is 9 square meters. So I pretty much did everything the same. The footprint of the kitchen is exactly the same size as Lorraine's room. The terrace here is 1/3 of the whole entire space, so you've got 15 square meters, 15 square meters, 15 square meters. Pretty much did everything to suit the building materials that they have over here in the Philippines. But it was a little bit different for me doing the conversion, because when I want to buy building materials, I work in millimeters and centimeters and meters. And obviously over here, they're the same as the American system, it's the imperial system, and I had no idea what an inch is. I had no idea what a 1/16 of an inch is. I don't know what that is, so got to get the phone out, got to calculate it all. The builders that I had were really good. The labourers that I had were really good, and I really appreciated them too. Quite often buy them lunch, buy them drinks, snacks, that sort of thing. Working out in this heat's got to be pretty difficult. So, got to look after the guys, and they looked after me, and they did everything that I wanted to do. So yeah, it turned out pretty well.
It's a beautiful home.
Thank you.
Very, very beautiful home. In terms of the amount of time from design to actual build out, how long did it take?
So we won't include the cabin down the bottom, because obviously we were living in the cabin when this was getting built. We started this in May. I did a lot of the groundwork, well I wouldn't say the groundwork, but I did a lot of the setting out, getting ready for the carpenters, because they were completely unsure how it was going to go. They hadn't built with much timber before, so I had to basically come up here and show them exactly what I wanted done. but we were finished to the point that we are now, excluding the landscaping, by early August, yeah? So it didn't actually take that long. It went pretty quickly. That's one of the advantages of building with timber, especially with me, because it's my background. I know how quickly it can go up. I know how quickly you can make mistakes and you can fix them. It progressed pretty quickly. There was a few issues with getting water up here for the cement. As you can see, we've got no running water. We have to take the truck and we have to collect water from anywhere. So anything that has to do with concrete, all the hollow blocks, Lorraine's room and the kitchen, it took a substantial amount of my labour to bring the water up here because I didn't want the carpenters taking time away from their job, and I wanted to be able to just supply them water as much as possible. So it was pretty much all day just water runs, bringing water up here. I used to take the 5-gallon water containers, fill them up individually, and then we've got 2 large water tanks here that I would have to individually fill them up. So it was a complete pain, but I guess that's the advantage of building with wood for the rest of the house. Sourcing the timber though was a bit of a nightmare, right? Because it's quite difficult to get timber in the Philippines, unless you're in Tagbilaran or Cebu or like a main centre where you can go to a large hardware store and you can just order a lot of timber. I had to literally find a place in Ubay. They didn't have any timber in the yard, but I had to ask them, look, can you source me this amount of timber and this amount of timber? And as you can see, we've got incredibly large lengths. So they actually have to go out into the forest and the jungle, and they have to find the trees that they need to cut down so they can supply the timber that I need. It's not like I walk into the store and just say, I'll take 15 minutes of that or 15 minutes of that. So I've got to be there 2 weeks before I need it. So I have to make sure I'm on the ball when it comes to project management, because if I have a 2-week period where the carpenters have nothing to do because I haven't done my job to order the timber properly, they'll probably walk off. Because they weren't on like a contract or anything, they were just turning up, daily pay. They'll probably just walk off and go, well, we'll find work elsewhere. You can't be cruel like that. They need the work, they want the work. So yeah, there was a bit of a learning curve, but I did a few small orders for the timber first. So I ordered some timber for something out there first, just so they knew that I was going to follow through with all the orders. And then I put through a massive order for all of the wood on the walls, all of the wood on the ceiling, like all of the wood. And I was a little bit scared that they weren't actually going to come through with the order because they didn't know me that well, and they might have thought, well, should we go ahead and spend weeks finding all this wood, cutting it all up, at the risk of having it stuck in our yard and not being able to sell it because the foreigner doesn't want to buy it. I was very lucky they trusted me, and I was also very lucky that the carpenter knew the guy from the Ubay sawmill. He knew the guy really well, so he said, no, it's fine. We know where he is, we know everything about him. So they delivered a huge amount of wood all on the driveway. No, that was the second lot, right? Yeah. The first lot they couldn't get up the driveway. So they had all of the truss timber, and they delivered it down near the cabin down the bottom. So I personally had physically carried the whole lot. There's videos on my page of me carrying the whole lot length by length in the scorching sun up here, because once again I didn't want to inconvenience the carpenters. I wanted to keep them doing what they were doing. And it was a horrible experience, right? I think I lost about 20 kilos doing that.
Wow.
And it was all water weight. It was just dripping off me. But eventually got it done, and now I'm at a point where I can kind of relax, and I can just do things as I need to do them. So, as I said before, like all the walls need to be done. I'll eventually do them. I'm in no rush. I like to go swimming. I like to go to the beaches. I like to experience the Philippine life.
If I go back to the States, I got a whole wish list of items.
Well, over here in the Philippines, Lazada is really, really good. We order most of our stuff from Lazada. Luckily, the delivery driver knows where we live, because nobody else can figure out how to get to our house. So if I want to buy something myself, I actually get Mary to buy it, because they know Mary and they know Lorraine because of the products that she gets. So yeah, I was wondering when I came here, how am I going to buy online things? But Lazada seems to work really well. Really well.
Shopee, Jonica loves Shopee.
Shopee can't find us.
Really?
They can't seem to find us. They're really good. They've got some products that I want for my motorcycle and my truck, but they can't seem to find out where we live. So they leave it down in Mahayag. And sometimes it's a real pain to go and pick it up, because sometimes it might be quite large. And, but
I mean, if you're in essentially the middle of nowhere,
we are.
Just FYI, guys, your home is on Google Maps.
Yes, I put my home on Google Maps because there was a lot of confusion from a lot of people. But unfortunately, what's happened is some people actually think it's a park. We've had a few visitors up here, and we've been looking out. The security cameras picked up the visitors, and they've had backpacks on, and we've thought, who are these people? What are they doing here? And they've actually been tourists that have been to the Danao Adventure Park, and they've seen on Google Maps New Zealand. because it does actually say that it's a park. I mean, it's got heaps of photos on there that I put on there. So they turn up and they're like, oh, sorry, we thought this was a park. So we'll just show them around briefly. We'll be like, no, this is a personal house. But yeah, that's been a little bit funny. But we put it on there for, I guess, most people, most family members, if they come and visit us, Mary's family, and they don't really know where to go if they're from Cebu or San Carlos City.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say easy for them to find, but it's easier.
Oh yeah.
So if they have a look on there and they can make it to the driveway and then they can get down to the cabin at the bottom, then they can see where we are. So that worked out pretty well. Yeah. I don't know how well you guys would have found it. Hopefully you would have found it well, but I don't know. It becomes very confusing.
Yeah, it was a little confusing, but me and Jonica had discussed that ahead of time while we were doing our research, and she's like, "Oh, this is really cool. This guy has his house on Google
in the middle
Maps."
of nowhere.
And I said, "Babe, he doesn't have it on Google Maps to just flex, like, I'm in the jungle." I'm like,
I have to show people.
Yeah, I'm like, he probably has this for family, friends,
exactly.
and individuals who might have a hard time finding the place.
The delivery guys from Lazada and Shopee, they actually had to check it first before they knew where we were, before they knew who we were.
Well, I appreciate you touring us around your home and your property, showing us the area. It is really fascinating to see, what you guys have built out here and just to see that you have this nice, peaceful, tranquil life. I mean, of course, I know day-to-day life, it's hard work.
It is, especially with no running water. No supermarkets. Like, obviously, being from the second largest city in New Zealand, any conveniences that we had. For example, we have a teenage daughter, and on a Friday night or Saturday night, she may be, I guess, thinking about, Dad, can we order some food? It's like, okay, cool, where do we get it from? Well, we get it from Tagulara. We get it from Ubay. Well, it's going to take 2 hours and probably 6,000 pesos to get it here.
Right.
So that convenience is kind of gone, but we do have the utter peace of silence. Like, you can probably hear nothing at the moment.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing. Sometimes we have dogs barking, like I did last night. Sometimes, obviously, we're in the Philippines, we have karaoke at 5 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, but you gotta deal with that. But luckily, it's so far away, we can only hear it faintly.
Right.
But it is very, very peaceful up here. Yeah, it's great.
And we can definitely get more into the trade-offs, because I'm sure there's definitely going to be some trade-offs living here.
There is.
You mentioned a few, but yeah. We already talked about your home, the design, the build-out, the time it took to go from start to finish. But altogether, how long have you been living in the Philippines, and what made you choose the Philippines as an area to relocate to?
So currently we've been here for almost 2 years. So it'll be 2 years in January next year. We primarily decided to come here just for a holiday in June 2023. Mary really wanted to come back to her hometown. Lorraine really wanted to experience the Philippines. So we decided to come back to San Carlos City for a holiday, and it completely changed my life. Like, completely. I'd never even left the country before.
Wow.
So for me, it was a huge experience. I guess the first thing I remember is driving, because we had to get a plane to Bacolod, because we went to Negros first. Had to get a plane to Bacolod, but then we had to get a bus from Bacolod City to San Carlos City. First thing I remember is driving through the mountains on the bus and looking out the window and seeing Filipinos so happy with nothing, absolutely nothing. They were living in little shacks on the side of the road, and I've never seen this, I've never experienced it. And seeing them with absolutely nothing, with huge smiling faces, just waving, just enjoying themselves. You had kids walking down the road pushing a tyre with a stick, and that was their toy, that was their fun, but they looked so happy. And that was the first thing, that flashbulb moment that just stuck in my brain, was that. And then the whole holiday, that's all I seemed to want to experience, was the actual culture rather than the tourist spots. We came to Bohol and we did the typical tourist things, the tajias and that sort of thing, but I just couldn't stop thinking about it. Every moment of every day that I was on holiday, I'm sitting there looking and thinking, wow, why are these people so happy? Like, they don't seem to have much. And I personally couldn't understand it, being from a Western country and never seeing it before. My idea of happiness was material things. My idea was chasing success and chasing money, because that's what was ingrained to me throughout my whole life. So anyway, we got back home to New Zealand and I couldn't sleep. I couldn't even think straight. All I wanted to do was just go back to the Philippines. I didn't know what I was going to do. I actually felt kind of depressed. It's like, I really want to go back. Like, I felt at home, and I'm kind of even tearing up now. Like, I just wanted to get out of what I was living, and I decided at that point I'm just going to sell everything that I own, like absolutely everything. I owned a house for 14 years. I had 3 vehicles, really nice vehicles. I had a really good job, a well-paying job. I had 3 dogs that I treated as my children, and I just decided at that point I was going to sell everything. So I gave myself 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
6 weeks to sell everything. I had to put my house on the market. I had to market it properly. I had to resign from my job. I had to sell all my cars. I didn't want to lose money and sell it all really quickly, and to sell it for the sake of selling it. I just developed tunnel vision and I just got it done. January the 21st, 2024, I was in St. Carlos City.
Wow.
So it was the biggest change I've ever done. Every single person in my close circle thought I was nuts. My boss thought that I was crazy.
Yeah.
My mum and my stepdad thought that I was just going through a phase and I would snap out of it. But clearly it's not a phase. I've been here for almost 2 years now. I plan on staying here for the rest of my life. It's the best life I could ever have. I spend my whole time helping the community. I offer work to the locals. You know, if they don't have any work, I've told them, look, they know where I live. Come and talk to me. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
You need your motorcycle repaired, come up here. I'll find something for you to do. I spend a lot of money at Christmas time making out gift packages for all the locals who may not have anything for Christmas dinner, and I just hand it out. I love it here. The people are amazing. The weather's amazing. It's a little bit too hot sometimes, but the weather's amazing. The scenery's amazing.
Yeah.
Everything about it's amazing.
You know, it's not uncommon when I meet with different expats, no matter where they're from, Australia, New Zealand, the States, Canada. It seems like there are a lot of expats who were doing very well in the countries that they've come from. Like, you know, they checked all the boxes. Nice cars, big house, trips, vacations,
Good jobs,
all of that. But it seems like on one side, it can be fulfilling from the outside looking in. But when I've talked with so many people, they've expressed that a lot of that was just empty. Like they felt empty inside, no matter what.
That's it. It's all like a perception almost. It's almost like a social media profile for people to see.
Right.
But it's not actually what they experience in your real life.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I felt the whole time.
And I think that's why friends, family, you know, coworkers, they don't get why someone would trade all of that for this.
Yeah.
Because it sounds crazy to them. They're like, well, hey, you got this, you got this, you got everything.
Yeah.
What more could you ask for?
Well, especially when I said, after we'd been to St. Carlos City, especially when I said that, said to my mum and a few of my close friends, right, we've decided we're going to settle in Bohol, in the jungle. And their perception of the jungle is obviously National Geographic when they're seeing Filipinos literally living in the jungle. Well, I am in the jungle, so it's not really a false statement, but it's not what they were thinking. And then they get to see my YouTube videos and they think, oh, okay, he's in the jungle, but he's not really in the jungle. You know what I mean?
Of course, you're able to show your family, and you've been able to show your family through your videos that this is where I'm at. You know, I'm safe.
That's primarily why I started the channel. Actually, it was just to show, just to document it, so I could show our son in New Zealand, and I could show my family, so they could just see what I was up to on a day-to-day basis. Because you know, it's very different having a phone call and asking how you are, rather than seeing a physical video of, look, Mum, I went to this place this day, or look, I went here. You know, it's very, very different. So that was the primary reason, and then people started to get really interested in the videos, like yourself. How did this guy get here? What's he doing here? Yeah. So, and to me, it was like, wow, people are actually interested.
Right.
Really? I didn't understand it. And then I thought, oh, okay, I guess it's kind of interesting. Yeah, I guess. If I was in the same position in New Zealand watching somebody like me, then yes, I would find it interesting. But yeah, like being here for a certain amount of time, like I explained before, you kind of forget what you're doing because you're so used to it on a day-to-day basis that you don't find that other people would find it interesting. Or you don't think that other people would find it interesting. Like even my simple day-to-day process of collecting water so we've got a way to shower. People are like, wow, really? Is that what you do? And they're really interested in that. And for me, it's like, oh, really? I've got to carry all these water containers, you know? So, they find it interesting. We'll come and do it then. You know? But, yeah, it's definitely different living out there.
And so we went over why you decided on the Philippines. But for me, as you were speaking about that, I'm curious to know why Bohol and why this part of Bohol?
Yes. That's a very, very simple question to answer. And the answer is Mary's mother owned all the land that we're on. So we first came over here for a holiday. Once we were in St. Carlos City, we thought, let's go and visit Lola's land. And we came over here and we had Uncle Nero and a few of the other cousins and aunties and uncles show us around Lola's land and show us up here. And I thought this is absolutely perfect. Like, because this area here was actually clear. They'd been farming carabao up here. So we had all of the trees around us, but in the centre it was all all relatively clear. It was a hill, but it was all relatively clear. And I looked at it from a construction perspective and I thought, this is perfect. Like, this is perfect from a typhoon. We've got all the shelter from the trees, from the heat. It is a little bit cooler up here in the evenings and the mornings. It's not much cooler, but a little bit. And it's silent. That's what I wanted. So that is why we picked Bohol and specifically this spot. Just purely because the land was here and we didn't have to pay for the land because it was passed down to Mary and her brother from Lola.
Now, in your opinion, why should expats consider Bohol? And by the way, just for some context as you think about that, I feature a lot of different expats on this channel, but for the majority of the videos, it's mainly been people living in cities like, you know, Makati, BGC, Cebu, areas like that. Very rarely do I have the chance to, you know, meet with someone like yourself who's in the jungle. I love saying that because if y'all can see, I'll put the B-roll, guys, but we are literally like in the jungle, and it's so peaceful.
It is.
Tranquil.
We can't hear a thing.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
There's no cars honking. I don't see any tall skyscrapers. I just see greenery.
Why should expats choose Bohol? I think you have to be a particular type of person to choose Bohol. As you were saying, most of the foreigners who come here and expats who come here, they go to the main cities. And I guess for them, they've got their specific reasons for going there. It may be for internet access for remote work. It may be for medical reasons because they may be retired. So if they're retired, obviously you're going to require hospitals to be relatively close or medical facilities to be reasonably close, but it also takes a personal preference as well. I guess from what I've seen from a lot of videos from expats is they come from their home country over to Philippines and they still want to have those Western comforts that they left. Not all of them, but they still want to have a lot of those Western comforts. So they want, I say, a condo, they want access to malls, they want access to Western foods, that type of thing. So I guess for me it does take a specific type of person to live up here in the jungle. I'm quite happy to eat at a kurinderia. I'm quite happy to shop at a local market and buy the beef and the chicken from you know, the little stalls that they have. A lot of expats probably wouldn't do that. Some of them do, but some of them, as I say, want the Western feel of things. For example, my mother and her husband, they're relatively well off. Let's just say that. And there's no way that they would come and retire in the Philippines. I think they're 67. There's no way that they'd come to the Philippines and live in the jungle. I don't think I would even be able to get them up to my house, to be blatantly honest. For example, my stepdad loves his Mercedes. He drives all that sort of thing. He's an ex-professor. Mum loves her comforts as well. They live in an enormous house for 2 people. So yeah, I guess to answer that question, for expats coming to Bohol, if you're not going to Tagbilaran or Panglao and you're coming to the actual island of Bohol and planning to live in a place where I live, you have to be prepared for a lot of, I wouldn't say discomfort, but be prepared to give up a lot of the Western comforts. We don't have running water. We don't have a regular supply of drinking water, so we have to get all those things. If we run out of food for dinner or that sort of thing, and it's absolutely pouring down with rain, sometimes my 4-wheel drive truck doesn't even get down the driveway, so I have to take my dirt bike. But if it's pouring down with rain, I have to put a poncho on, so if you don't want to get wet, you know, all of these things. It takes a certain type of person who can deal with the discomfort of living in a place like this and the daily jobs and chores that you have to do to just maintain the property. I have to constantly look out for termites and rats. I have to do constant checks on the dog's well-being because they might get bitten by a snake. There are snakes everywhere around here. You haven't seen any yet. I haven't seen any today, but there's snakes everywhere. And we are a long way away from, like if I want to buy meat, for example, yesterday I had to drive almost 2 hours just to get some beef. Mahayag, they sell chicken. That's it. Karaman, they've just shut their market down yesterday because ASF, so African swine flu or whatever, has pretty much taken over all the pork stock. You're not allowed to sell meat there anymore at the moment. So, yeah, if you come into Bohol, guys, be prepared for some of the discomforts, unless you go into Panglao or Tagbilaran.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And I mean, of course, no matter what area of any place that you live in, there's going to be trade-offs.
Yeah, definitely.
You got to take the, you know, the pros and the cons, the good with the bad. But this lifestyle change that you've made, you know,
complete contrast.
complete contrast from New Zealand. Can we talk about some of the positives? Because we just went over some of the you know, trade-offs that you have to make. But what are some of the positives? What are some of the positive things that you get back from living out here and living this lifestyle?
I guess one of the biggest positives for me personally, just being around people in the province, is being able to help them in any way that I can. For me personally, that's what I like the most. For me, that's a huge positive, and that gives me a really good feeling when I do that and I see the smile on their faces. That's the first one. Second positive thing about being up here is the view. The view, the silence, the lack of stress. There's no stress. I don't have to hear any sirens. When I was living in Christchurch, it was constant sirens because I lived in a very busy part of Christchurch. It's when we were in St. Carlos City for a few months, just staying there. There was sirens, there was dogs barking, there was karaoke, there was just constant noise. So up here, it's so silent. Every now and then we will have some karaoke over at the church, or there'll be like a little fiesta or something going on, or one of the locals down here, one of the cousins will wake up at 5 a.m. and go, oh, let's put some karaoke on. It's a little bit loud sometimes, but yeah, it's just so peaceful. For me, that's the biggest thing, helping the locals out and seeing the look on their face and just the peacefulness of the whole thing. I can wake up at any time of the morning and I can walk out here and just see this. There's no noise, there's nothing. should mention, Bohol is such a small island. If you're planning on touring around and seeing things, it's a maximum of 2 hours away. So you take the motorcycle, you want to see a waterfall, you want to go for a swim, you want to see a beach, you want to go to Panglao, you want to stay in a 5-star resort. Everything is so close.
Yeah.
If I wanted to do something like that in St. Carlos City, to go to a beach, we had to drive 2 hours to get to a decent swimming beach.
Yeah.
We had to drive 3 hours to get to a decent waterfall. The advantage of Bohol is it's so small. You can drive from Ubay on the north end all the way down to Tagbilaran in about 2.5 hours. I feel very, very lucky to be here.
Yeah.
Just wake up in the morning and see that. At night time it looks really nice as well, because in the distance there's a barangay Tumuk, and there's a whole lot of houses and that sort of thing up on the hill. So
Now I am curious, what culture shocks stood out the most when you first moved here? I'm sure there have to
There was a
been
lot.
a few,
There was
or
a
a lot.
there was always the really unusual thing of seeing a motorcycle with, say, 7 or 8 people in it.
Yeah.
That was always very unusual to me, because in New Zealand we've got very strict road laws, like most Western countries. You cannot do that.
Right.
So seeing a whole family on a little 125cc scooter, for me was like, oh, whoa, what's up? Hey,
Yeah.
hey.
No helmets either.
No helmets, nothing. And then you would also see them carrying beds. So you would see a double bed frame, a timber double bed frame, stacked on the back of a motorcycle, overhanging 1.5 meters on each side and say a meter over the back. But I can understand why, because it's the only way of transporting it.
Yeah.
But for me, that was a bit mind-blowing. Like, what is going on here? Also, another thing that we see here in the province is a 6-meter-long piece of reinforcing steel for the construction. They'll tie it to their seat, and then they'll drag it along the road on the back of their motorcycle. So you see this enormous thing sticking out 6 meters. You're like, what's going on here? For me, that was the main things. The other one was the electricity wires in cities. That was a little disconcerting when I first came here for my first holiday, especially when my very first hotel room experience, I was having a shower and I sort of looked up and there was an electrical socket inside the shower. You do not have electrical sockets inside showers in Western countries. It's highly illegal. But I looked up, and obviously they have the little unit that heats the water, and it's plugged in just above the shower head. And I'm thinking, is this safe? And I even, as I said, it was the first hotel that I'd ever been to in the Philippines. On my first holiday that I'd ever experienced here, I took a photo of it and I sent it through to my mum. And I was like, check this out. There's an electrical socket right beside the shower head. And she's like, get out of that room right now. So it's just little things like that. The food I was kind of prepared to experience, because obviously having a Filipino wife, I'd experienced all the Filipino food, having Filipino family around us in New Zealand. But I think having a Filipino wife and being with her for so long and knowing the Filipino community in my own country, the transition was relatively easy. Relatively. We still had the little things where I was a little bit shocked. What's going on? Especially balut. Don't even go there. I put it off for forever. Yeah. The first time I tried it was St. Carlos City. We went for a holiday to Charter Day a few months ago. And it was the very first time I tried it. But I had to make sure that I drank 3 bottles of Red Horse first, because I really didn't want to drink. Really didn't want to eat it. The flavour of the egg itself was acceptable. The texture was not. So it did depart from my mouth pretty quickly. But I don't think I'll be trying that again. It was just the flavour. I wasn't grossed out by the embryo. I wasn't grossed out by seeing the duck head. No. Just the flavour. Have you tried it?
Not yet. And I owe my subscribers one balut.
Get them to try it, please. I want to see it, Floyd. I want to see it.
So a couple of months ago I posted, hey, if you guys get me to 100K or past 100K, I'll try balut. I'm at
113 now. We got you, Floyd. We got you. You got to do it.
It's coming soon, guys.
You got to thank me for that, guys. That was about it. I was pretty much prepared for most of it. I think if you hadn't been to the Philippines before and hadn't experienced the culture back in your own home country, or you weren't actually with a Filipino or Filipina at that time, then you would be very, very shocked, because you wouldn't know what the culture's like. You would get here and you would be absolutely just mind-blown.
Just to switch gears a little bit, I'm pretty sure in your comment section you've probably had so many different comments. There's a lot of expats and foreigners who say, don't buy in the Philippines, don't build a house, you're going to get scammed, you're going to lose your money, the contractor is going to run off with, however many pesos. But fortunately, me and my girlfriend have been able to connect with, different expats like yourself who've had great success building in the Philippines, where things just went off without a hitch. Can you Just give us a little bit more breakdown on that.
I think it's the same in any country, to be honest. Being from a construction background, as I say, I've spent my whole life in construction in New Zealand. Plenty of scammers.
Yeah.
There's plenty of cowboys. We call people who don't build very well, we call them cowboys. There's plenty of people who will take advantage of you.
Yeah.
It's the same in any country. So I think if anybody is primarily focused on, I guess, calling the Philippines a bad place to build because they are grouped into a whole group of scammers, I think it's just a false statement. I just think it's completely false.
Yeah.
Yes, there are going to be scammers here, absolutely. There's going to be people who try and take advantage of you, absolutely. But it's the same in New Zealand, it's the same in Australia, I'm sure it's the same in the States, it's the same everywhere. My recommendation to that would be just be very, very, very careful. Start off doing something very small. Do a little bit of background research into the company itself. Who is it owned by? How long have they been established? Do they have a Facebook page? Are there people on the Facebook page that you can call or talk to or message and say, how was your experience? Before I came to the Philippines, there's all sorts of bulletins from all sorts of different countries saying, don't go to the Philippines because it's dangerous, don't go here, don't go there. There's parts that you would want to stay away from, but if there are places where you should stay away from, why are you there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't go there.
Yeah.
Avoid danger. Don't go there. It's dangerous in any country. There's parts of Christchurch in New Zealand I would not want to walk down in the middle of the night.
Right.
Build with people who you think are competent. Don't pay over a huge amount of money first. Never, ever, ever pay over a huge amount of money. If they need the materials and they are asking for a deposit, say that you will purchase the materials for them. That's the easiest way around it. To say, if they come to you and say, Floyd, we need 30,000 pesos because we need some cement, we need some sand, we need this. It's, okay, cool, where are you getting it from? I'll go pay for it and I'll make sure it's delivered.
Right.
Then once you gain their trust and they gain your trust, then you can start a dynamic working relationship, and then you can extend your project. But I would think if you're going to purchase some land and you're going to build on it, start small. Start with a small shed, a small unit, build your way up until you've gained the trust. The whole scamming thing of land as well, once again, just be very, very, very careful. Make sure the title is a clear title. Make sure it's been surveyed and you know whose name it's under before you purchase it. All of those things. We were very lucky. We've had a whole lot of comments on our page as well, saying that, oh, you're probably going to get scammed by your wife and da-da-da. Well, dude, I love my wife. It's crazy. It's the same in any country, man. Like in New Zealand, right? They're going to say, be careful of your foreign husband, he's going to scam you and take... It's the same. Yeah. Like, I love my wife. I trust my wife. Yes, the land is hers.
Right.
But I trust her. Yeah. If you can't have trust in your partner, what are you doing with? So...
Yeah, I mean, there are always going to be skeptics in the comment section. And I think from what I've seen, it just comes from, ignorance. Yeah. People just don't know.
Everybody thinks they know better.
Yeah.
And if you actually inquired about them and say, do you live in the Philippines? No. Well, how on earth do you know what you're talking about?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But yeah, there's a lot of people and a lot of comments. I'm sure you get it all the time. We get it all the time. I wouldn't say that they're negative, but they know everything. Right. They know everything. We know what's best for you. Don't do this. Don't do that. So
in the States, we call them keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
They know everything. They're know-it-alls, but they haven't done it.
They haven't experienced
it. Yeah, they haven't experienced it.
Probably sitting in their mom's basement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Google.
That's the reason why I love making these videos and connecting with different expats, just to actually educate people. Because like I mentioned before we got started, there's someone right now who's maybe sitting in New Zealand or Australia or Canada or United States, and they're going to watch this and they want your exact lifestyle. They want to be able to do something like this. And to me, the most motivating thing is us living here, but also us showcasing this. Yeah. It's great to motivate and inspire people. Because one thing that I've seen so far with every expat that I've met, it's helped me realize that it's possible. No matter what lifestyle you want to live. Yeah. There's someone living that lifestyle, and sometimes that's just all it takes to encourage someone to book that plane ticket, to buy that piece of land, to hire this contractor. It's good to get the knowledge
out there as well, so to answer all the questions that, because a lot of, like we were discussing before, a lot of people may be reading the comments and they might be like, ooh, put a little bit of doubt in their mind. Right. Ooh, oh no, I don't want to go to the Philippines. This guy in the comments knows more. Yeah. Sorry guys, they don't. People living in the Philippines, fortunately, have lived here. They know. Some of the comments we do take on board and we think, okay, cool, that's correct. And we may make like a video about it. But a lot of those comments, listen to people who live there. Listen to people who have experienced it and done it. Don't listen to comments. Listen to us, the people. We're doing it.
Exactly. Now, one thing I can say that I like from what you've said so far, James, I like the fact that you have integrated yourself into the local culture. That's really cool to, be a foreigner, but properly integrating yourself into the culture and the community, because just looking at the lifestyle that you built for yourself out here, you would have to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, there's no way you could still come here with your foreigner mindset and think, okay, I'm not going to talk to anyone, I'm not going to be friends with anyone. Because that's very common in the States where, we live in these neighborhoods where you could be maybe a couple of blocks down the street from someone, but you never talk to your neighbor. You never say good morning, you never wave hello.
Yeah. It's almost like a very cold feeling culture sometimes. I'm not saying all experiences are like that, but sometimes in Western culture it's almost like a disconnect from the people around you. You're very isolated with your own close circle of friends and family, whereas here everybody helps everybody else out. Everybody has little meetings and they'll get to know each other, which is, it's really good up here. Unfortunately, I can't speak much Bisaya, but it's getting better. It's getting better.
Now, people are going to be wondering in the comment section, and I'm sure you probably covered this on your channel, we'll go over this now. What was the overall cost of building this house out?
So once again, we'll exclude the cabin down the bottom.
Right.
That's an extra cost. I can tell you how much it was if you need to know. That was about 350,000 pesos just for that little cabin. Okay. I didn't project manage that one, so it took a little bit longer than normal. That one was getting built while we were in St. Carlos City, so it took a little bit longer. Realistically, I would think that should have only cost about 300,000 if I was project managing it, possibly less. But this entire unit up here, all of the buildings, the hut, the kitchen, everything you see on this piece of land, including the backhoe that came up here to flatten the section out, it's less than 700,000.
Wow.
I can't tell you the exact figure between 600 and 700,000 because my first computer that I did the spreadsheet on doesn't work. But anyway, on that spreadsheet I threw in things, unfortunately. Maybe I was drinking a Red Horse or something, but I threw something else in. So I threw the couch in, that was 40,000 pesos. Okay. I threw in some other things that we've got inside the house, and then I was like, oh, I need to take that out. And then all of a sudden, the next day, the computer went kaput. Yeah. So it wasn't much.
Right.
It wasn't much. I think my truck over there was almost the same price as the house.
Wow.
Well, if I put my truck and my 2 motorcycles in, they cost more than the house. So, but that's because I took charge of project management. I designed everything. I did material procurement, so I made sure that I sourced everything. The guys never left the site. I went out, I found everything, I got it all delivered. Yeah.
So you were heavily involved in this process from start to finish.
I was here every single day. I was living in the hut down the bottom, the cabin down the bottom, and every single day this was my job. Wow. So I treated it like it was a job in New Zealand. Every single day I'm up here making sure the carpenters are doing what they're supposed to be doing. They were very competent, but they hadn't dealt with this amount of timber before. Yeah. So they didn't know my design. If it was a typical rectangular hollow block house, they would have built it really quickly, really easily. I probably would have had to come up here maybe once to check on it. But because this was so complex and so different to what they'd done, I was here every single day sweating. But a lot of nights as well, because they didn't know how things were put together, and because the language barrier was such a challenge. Mary was quite often away in Cebu and doing other things, so I was here by myself without a translator, and many nights I had to actually draw all the drawings on paper to scale so they could measure it off their tape measure and go, okay, cool, that's 3.7 meters long, that's this. Then I had to show them step by step by step how to put it together. So just complex angles up here, I had to actually put numbers on each individual piece of timber on the piece of paper to show them where to start. That's the first piece of timber you put up, that's the second piece, that's the third piece. But I designed all this, so I'm very conscious about earthquakes. Living through the 2011 one in New Zealand, it completely destroyed Christchurch, so I'm very, very conscious about that. So I strengthened the house to a point where it's made out of timber for one, so it will move with it, but it's also got all the structural elements to prevent it from moving too much. I had to put that in there because earthquakes really scare me. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that doesn't happen here. And hopefully we don't get a typhoon over there as well. Yeah. Hopefully.
Well, that's cool that you've been able to take that experience and then also your background in construction and apply that out here. And, this is literally and figuratively a labor of love.
Exactly.
Now, just to switch gears again, we talked about the trade-offs for you, but overall, what are some of the trade-offs that you could think of between living in Bohol and living in a bigger city like, let's say, Makati or BGC?
Yeah, as I went into before, I think it's just a personal thing of what you require, depending on your age, depending on your background. I would not recommend for most people to come into the jungle and try and build a house in the jungle if you're not from a construction background.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it. You might run into a whole lot of unforeseen issues that you're completely unaware of. The carpenters may not know how to rectify those issues, so you're going to find yourself in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
So yeah, it depends on the specifics that you need for your own personal life. The trade-offs that you've got living in a city for me would be, well, the noise. I have to deal with the noise. I have to deal with the cars and the traffic, the pollution, all of the things that I left Christchurch, New Zealand for. But there would be positives for me as well, because I do quite often like to stay in 5-star resorts. Quite often like to go, well, I don't like to go to the mall, but I have a 16-year-old daughter who loves to go to the mall. Every time we're in Tugbilaran, Dad, can we go to the mall? Dad, can we go to the mall? I'm like, can I sit in the truck? I don't want to go on the mall. But anyway, so there are a lot of trade-offs, positives and negatives. Family-wise, my daughter and my wife would love to be able to go to the mall more often. They would love to do the girly things that they want to do, sit down and get their hair done regularly and their nails done. If they need to get that done, we have to drive maybe an hour and a half to Tugbilaran to get it done, and then what am I going to do while they're getting this? So that's a good trade. It's a positive trade-off for me, because I don't have to take them there. They can go there and get it done. Positive trade-offs here in the country. It's quiet. It's peaceful. It's beautiful. Negative trade-offs. You've got to do a whole lot of work to sustain your day-to-day lifestyle. You've got to get water. I'm lucky. I'm relatively fit, so carrying all those water containers are relatively easy. Getting your food, it's completely different. If you're up here, you're very limited for what you can eat unless you go somewhere else to get it. So to get all the ingredients to cook a decent meal like lumpia or adobo or caldereta, that sort of thing, we have to drive minimum 35 minutes to get the ingredients to cook it. And we don't often eat takeaways, so we cook every day. For me, that's also a positive trade-off, because it gives me something to do during the day. Like, it's an adventure every day, because we've actually found this jungle road through the jungle. It's like this little track about this wide that takes us to San Miguel, which is the closest little town that we've got. It's about 30 minutes away. But we found this little jungle road. It takes a little bit longer, but it's literally through the jungle. Big trees everywhere, snakes running over.
Oh, jeez.
Like, what's going on? Mud. We got stuck there the other week when we went through after the rain. So for me, it's a positive thing, but for some people that may be a negative trade-off. We don't want to go through the jungle. No. We want to be in an air-conditioned truck. So it's a very different.
I'm one of those people.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a very different thing for very, very different personality types. You know what I mean? I was brought up quite rough in New Zealand, play in the mud, climb trees, that sort of thing. So for me, up here, perfect. For other people, maybe not. So the trade-offs are, I guess, yours to choose from a personality perspective. Which ones do you think would suit your lifestyle? Which ones are you prepared to give up when you leave your westernized country? Which ones are you prepared to adopt when you get to the Philippines? So
now, living out here, just rough estimate, what would you say is your overall monthly cost of living?
It's a very good question. We don't have a mortgage, because I paid cash for everything. We don't have any rent. We don't have any. We've got property tax because we own the land. So we've got property tax of 1,200 pesos a year. Our internet bill is 1,000 pesos a month. Our electricity is about 1,000 to 1,200 pesos a month, because 50% of it's run off solar. So our overall monthly costs would be, say, it's about 2,000 pesos just for the absolute essentials, and then it all depends on what I choose to eat on that given day, is how much our food bills will go up to. We don't have any other expenses at all. I'm very, very lucky to have almost non-existent costs, depending on what I choose to eat. If I choose to eat rice and fish and the basic things during a week, I can probably survive three of us feeding us reasonably well for about 3,000 to 4,000 pesos a week. But I don't eat like that, so it does cost more. It does cost more. I do like my beef. I like my pork. I like my chicken. I do like to have some fries. I do like to have a burger. I do like to make some pies in our gas oven that we've got. So our food bill, realistically, our food bill every week is about 5,000 to 7,000 pesos a week. And then, depending on how much Red Horse I choose to drink on the weekend, may throw the cost out just a little bit. Just a little bit. I would say, conservatively speaking, let's just say 7,000 to 10,000 pesos a week. Up here, you're going to live very, very comfortably. Very comfortably.
Wow.
Yes. And then you throw all the other things on top of the leisure activities, which don't really count, but you could possibly spend another 10,000 to 20,000 pesos a week on doing those. But depends on what you do. If I literally sit here all day watching TV, it's not much. But I couldn't do that for it. I cannot sit still. But yeah, if you had to survive, 7,000.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
And I mean, just comparing that to New Zealand, of course, you're definitely getting more bang for your buck.
Oh yeah.
Out here.
Well, the advantage out here is, for one, I don't have to have a job. And for two, I literally get to do whatever I want every day. I don't have to go to a job. I don't have to sit there not sit there because I was in construction. I don't have to work physically from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every single day.
Yeah.
Get home, be so tired I can't do anything. Have to go to sleep, not spend any time with my wife and daughter. I can literally do whatever I want all day, every day. This is, I guess, a dream come true. Completely.
I love that. I love that. What words of motivation or inspiration can you give our audience that is watching? Just imagine someone who will watch this and they dream of a life like this. They would like to live a life like the one that you've built out. What words of motivation could you give that person watching right now?
I guess I'll take it from my own personal experience, and that would be don't procrastinate. If you have the financial means to do it, and you have a solid plan that you've gone over and over, and you think it's a solid plan and it's going to work, don't procrastinate. Just do it. That's what I did. I didn't look back. I didn't go back. I didn't let anybody talk me out of it. Look, guys, I was scared. I was terrified. I didn't know what I was in for. I'd gone off by what my wife had told me about how much things were going to cost. I've done my math over and over and over again, and I hoped and I prayed that it was actually going to work. And if I had have procrastinated, I would still be in New Zealand, unhappy, depressed, wishing for something that I should have done. And I certainly don't want to be one. I didn't want to be one of those people sitting in New Zealand at the retirement age thinking, I should have made that move when I was 40. Why didn't I do it? And regretting for the rest of my life why I didn't do it. Just do it. And if it doesn't work out, just treat it as a long-term holiday. Get into it first. Spend 6 months renting. See how you like it. See how it works out. If you want to stay from that 6-month period, do it. But just don't procrastinate. Don't spend the rest of your life just thinking, what if I did that? What if I did that? If you've got the means to do it, don't procrastinate and do it.
I have a good friend that's been featured on the channel, and he's a little bit younger than you and slightly younger than me. He's in his 20s, and he mentioned something to that effect. Because for him, he wanted to, ever since he was in high school, he had dreamed of traveling abroad, living abroad. And so he took the action to make it happen. And in the video, he said, why wait till I'm old?
Yeah.
And so many people on that video in the comment section, they got offended. Like, oh, well, you need to do this and you need to do this. So it's refreshing to hear that from someone your age. You're in your 40s, and you're even saying, hey, if you have the means to do it.
If you've got the means.
You got the means to do it.
Don't put yourself in a position where it could ruin your life because you take too many loans or anything like that. Only if you've got the financial means. And a lot of people do have the financial means, because I've just shown that you can live up here from 7 to 10,000 pesos a week. Even if you don't build a place, right? Let's just say that you rent in the province. It's so much cheaper than what you're renting in the BGC or Cebu or something like that. So if you can find a place for 5,000 pesos a month in the province to rent, and you really want to live this lifestyle, it is achievable as long as you've got some sort of income or investments or savings. If you've got the means to do it, don't procrastinate. Don't put it off like so many people do. I don't want any regrets in my life. And so far I don't have any, because I took that step. I took a lot of criticism, but I just persevered all the way through it, and I just said, I don't care, I'm doing it. And now I'm here, and it's the best thing I've ever done.
There's someone who's wishing that they could live this life, so you're very blessed.
I feel blessed.
You're very blessed. I appreciate you jumping on the channel, James.
Sure.
Seriously, this was fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed it. It's the first vlogger who's actually come up here.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very first vlogger.
Oh, man. I love that. Well, hey, I want you guys to...
No, watch out for flies.
now the jungle's attacking.
Watch out for the mosquitoes.
But I want you guys to follow James. Check out his channel. He's documenting his life out here. Where can they find you?
So I'm Kiwi in Bohol on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. And I've only been going for about 6 months so far. Unfortunately, I didn't document any of the build process of the house, but I am starting to document everything in my life now, as people like Floyd have just shown you guys. And it's been really good to meet you, Floyd. I'm really glad that you came up here. I wasn't sure how it was going to go, because as I say, I've never had a vlogger up here, and I used to kind of be a little bit nervous on camera, which people would think that's a bit strange for a vlogger. I'm new, guys. I'm completely new. I don't know how to deal with it all. But It's been a great experience. It's been good to talk to somebody in English as well. So that's been really good. Obviously, the only people I've got is my wife and my daughter who speak English, or fluent English.
Right.
That's been great.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed it too. So, you guys, y'all show James some love. I checked out his channel. Of course, with anyone I feature on the channel, me and my girlfriend, we do extensive research. And just looking at your lifestyle from the videos you've put up, I thought, man, this guy's interesting. We're going to be in Bohol. Why not, reach out to him and, see if we can make something happen. And then once my girlfriend said, yeah, he's really in the jungle. Like, she pulled it up on Google Maps. And she's like, you sure you want to go out there? And I said, yeah. I'm sure. And I'm glad
you did.
Yeah, me too. So, you guys show James some love. Kiwi in Bohol. We're going to post that in the top pinned comment of this video and the description and in the title of this video. So y'all make sure to subscribe to his channel, check out his life. He's going to be posting a lot of content because there's a lot of stuff to do out here. There's a lot of stuff to do out here. So if you love this video, make sure to hit the like button on this, subscribe, and if there's nothing else left to be said, I want y'all to stay safe, take care, God bless, peace. Let's take a pause real quick.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm enjoying this moment.
Did you forget something?
No. I've been living in the Philippines for a year now, and it's all been in
The
Makati,
cities.
city. So, yeah, this is very peaceful for me. Yeah.
Uy!
Hello. Did you pick
There you
up on that here in the Philippines?
Pardon?
Like the uy.
Yeah. I speak a little bit of Bisaya. Oi! Hey! Go away! Hey! Oi! Stop it!
Luna.
Ay.